want our customers to know that if they're with Amtech and they need help, they're going to get help from us. If you were my customer, my job is to help you win. So if I can help you sell more, be more profitable, you're winning, you're going to stick with me.
So collaboration is a very key mandate for you. One thing is, you talked about it, right? People are uncomfortable with change. And change at this velocity, I'm pretty sure has a bunch of skeletons in its closet.
I want people to love being in Amtech. Our longest employee has been with the company for 43 years.
Oh, wow.
Some people think we're bought by private equity. They're going to cut costs. It's going to be terrible for the customers. Vista is very different. Vista acquired us and said, we're going to invest because we think we can help you grow through investment. This year, we'll spend almost 30% of our revenue on R&D. That's not profits, that's revenue. And that is probably double what most companies spend.
The other thing that I want to obviously ask about is AI.
So we're investing a lot in AI right now. Every single person at Amtech has an MBO this year related to AI.
What about you? What's your personal AI MBO, Chuck?
My MBO is quite tough because it encompasses everything.
Everyone's AI MBO is your AI.
Exactly.
What is the one mantra or the quote that you live by?
I wouldn't call it a quote. I tell people that I'm the person that likes to get up in the morning and grab his spear and go up the mountain and slay the beast. Always charge forward and win.
Every product on your shelf, from a cereal box to a medicine carton to a snack pouch, has one thing in common. It had to be manufactured, printed, labeled, and delivered with remarkable precision. But behind that package is a highly complex manufacturing operation. Hundreds of jobs are moving simultaneously, raw materials that must be tracked precisely, production lines that run continuously, customer deadlines that leave little or no room for error, and margins that are wafer-thin. It is a business where operational precision is everything. What most people do not realize is that an entire category of enterprise software exists to make this possible. And right now, that world is changing incredibly fast. Artificial intelligence is beginning to reshape how manufacturers estimate jobs, schedule production, reduce waste, and improve profitability. Few companies are closer to this transformation than Amtech Software, whose software supports more than 1,250 packaging plants around the world. Hi everyone, I'm Nitika Goel, Managing Partner and CMO at Zinnov. Welcome to Zinnov Podcast, where we speak with leaders who are using technology to transform the industries that keep the global economy moving. Joining me today is Chuck Schneider, CEO of Amtech Software. Chuck has spent his career building software for operationally intensive industries, from logistics, automation, to packaging manufacturing. Chuck, it's great to have you with us.
It's great to be here.
I know at the outside, packaging seems fairly simple. You go onto a shelf, you see a box, a cereal box, something there, but there's a lot of complexity that lies behind it, right? And we rarely think about it. But this is a very pivotal industry that keeps the entire global commerce machinery going. So I would love to understand what drew you towards solving problems like this.
If you look at my background, I've got a double E degree and a computer science degree, so I've always been kind of a nerd. And very early in my career, I got involved in supply chain logistics. And what drew me to that was how you could take software and technology, apply it to a business problem, and actually see something transform or change for the better. And when I looked at the opportunity to Amtech, what Amtech was doing on the plant floor to help with scheduling and making plants more efficient, I got very excited because it kind of got back to my technical background. And so that's what really excited me. And the fact that Amtech had so many plants and so much experience doing this, had a team of people that are just fantastic. So the combination of great, interesting technology and a great team was really why I wanted to be in Amtech.
That is a fantastic way to look at it. I'm going to step back, and I think for our listeners, it'll be good to understand what Amtech does.
So Amtech provides the core software system that runs packaging factories. So everything from the ability to produce a quote and cost out what it would take to make a box, to taking that order, invoicing the customer for the order, manufacturing the box, ordering all the raw materials to make it, shipping it to the customer. We take care of all that for our customers. So we have a completely integrated system that does everything from the start of the process through the end of the process.
That's fantastic. So I'm going to ask you did describe your business as 4 main types of packaging. Would love to understand what that packaging is.
Yeah, so there's corrugated packaging. So think of the Amazon box that shows up on your doorstep every day. There's folding carton, which is like a cereal box or a box that you'd use for like chocolates. Labels are always fun because that's the label on your beer bottle or your scotch bottle. And then flexible packaging is like the pouches you might see in your pantry. So you might get protein powder or nuts or in a bag now instead of they used to come in a canister. That's flexible packaging.
So if I have to ask you, the industry of packaging and labeling, like I mentioned, from the outside seems seemingly mundane. But there's a lot of extraordinary parts that go into it, right, from a software perspective. Could you share some examples of how that comes to light and how you put that software together to make complex packaging happen?
Yeah, so from a software standpoint, it does seem pretty easy. You're making a square box. How hard can that be? But if you think about if you ever like fold out a box flat and you look at where all the creases are and the cuts are, if you're off by just a little bit, you won't have a square box. So up front, creating the specification for a box is very complex. And if you recall during COVID, a lot of people were complaining about so much air being shipped because you'd get a little tiny thing in this big box. Now they're getting very sophisticated with the boxes where you can have a box that will fold down to the size of what you're shipping to reduce on shipping costs. So making these things is very complex. And for packaging manufacturers, their margins are very tight. So if you go to cost something out and you're off, it's very easy to lose money. And this is one of the things that Amtech has done really well. We got our start with independent manufacturing plants. And so they needed to be very accurate in how do I cost something out and how do I produce a quote that will win. And our system, it does a better job at the costing and quoting than any of our competitors. It's one of the areas we're really, really strong. And so just getting it right on the front end. And then as that order moves through the plant, how do I schedule it on the right machine at the right time to optimize that piece of equipment? Again, that drives efficiencies, saves money for the plant. So if you want to run a profitable manufacturing plant, you've got to be good at every step consistently. And that's what we help customers do.
I think that's fantastic. You also have very, very different kinds of customers, right? So I know while we were talking, you mentioned there's a high degree of customization also that you do for customers. Is there any interesting anecdote or example of type of customization that you've done that really made your team and engineering team push the envelope a little bit?
There's a lot of stuff we've done. One of the most interesting things we've done recently is we're adding a new module for contract packaging, or we call it co-pack. Many of our packaging customers are looking for new paths to revenue. And so instead of producing a bunch of boxes, shipping them to, I'll pick DeWalt is a company that makes tools, shipping the boxes to DeWalt will ship the drills to the plant, and the plant will put them in the boxes and ship the boxes to a distribution center. And so we built this whole module completely integrated so when the boxes are produced, they can go over to the lines, they can get packed and shipped. And what that's done is given us a very easy way for our customers to go find new revenue. And that contract packaging revenue is more profitable than just making the box. So we're really helping our customers be more successful.
That's fantastic. I think one of your core philosophies in one of your talks, I said, is how to be deeply customer-centric and then be the world's best software for packaging, right?
Yep.
So what are some of the key things that you're putting in place today to enable that, Chuck?
I'll tell you that the way I look at business in this, and I've worked in, I'll say, smaller industries throughout my career, I think that if you can put your arms around your customer and deliver a great experience for the customer, it does 3 things for you. One is they'll buy more stuff from you, which is good for you, obviously. They'll be a great reference. But software's hard. And sometimes projects are hard and you have issues, but if you always are taking care of your customers, you'll work together as good partners to solve that issue and move on. And that's what's really important. One of the things we've done this year to improve on that is we've launched customer success. We didn't have that at Amtech before. And so we've got a whole team of people that think about the complete customer journey and how can they make that experience better and how can they take care of our customers. And that's something really important to me and the whole company. Because manufacturers, at the end of the day, if something happens in their plant and they can't produce boxes, it costs them a lot of money. And so trust and being able to trust Amtech that we will be there for them if there's ever a problem is really, really important.
I think you articulated that beautifully. How do you build that as a culture in an organization? I understand that, but obviously customers are different. How do you build the playbooks? How do you build it as a culture? And now playbooks, given the Vista private equity investment, is something you're very familiar with, yes?
We've got lots of playbooks, and we're just starting it on the customer success piece. But one of the things that I did when I joined Amtech was I wanted to really understand the culture of the company, and we put together a set of guiding principles. And we celebrate those. We do all hands meetings every 6 weeks. Once a quarter, we have one where we take all the great things that people have done in the company and we celebrate successes. And a lot of the success is really around collaborating with our customers, delivering value to our customers. And so we're trying to build that into the culture, at Amtech that started in the US, but also with the team here in India.
Got it. So I'm going to ask you, give me an example of a recent success you celebrated at Amtech that you're incredibly proud of.
I'll tell you, so I mentioned the contract packaging. We built that for a customer. We had our first go live a couple months ago. And the team that went out there worked tirelessly to help that customer be successful at that go live and really demonstrated the fact that we're good partners with our customer. And, go live on a new piece of software is hard, and they helped them be very successful. And so we celebrated that as a company.
Got it. Was it with one of the customers that had a good label that we cannot mention? Did they?
They don't have labels. That was a very large integrated corrugated manufacturer.
Great. The other thing that I want to obviously ask about is AI. I mean, one cannot ignore that and what it means. And it also has some implications on your business, of course, and how your customers may think what is a value-added service that you can provide as an organization, right? So what are some of the changes you're seeing from a business side, and what are the changes you're seeing from an engineering side?
Wow, AI has changed a lot. So when Vista acquired us last year, one of the things that they talked a lot about was how they wanted their portfolio companies to leverage AI to be more efficient internally and deliver great AI capabilities for their customers. And Vista is a great catalyst for sharing amongst their portfolio companies. So there's 90 other companies. I get together with other CEOs. We talk about how AI are changing things and what they're doing. So it's not just me on my own. I've got all this help. So what we've done internally around AI is we've got an AI council, which has representatives from every function in the company, and they are constantly looking at the use cases where we could apply AI to be more efficient. We track those, we track the hours saved, what we've done, so we can look across the company and say, this is what we've been doing. Our engineering department has made great strides in using agents to help them write code, write specifications, find and fix bugs, and it's made them much, much more productive. So that's been great for us internally. Externally, what's been interesting in manufacturing is somewhat behind the times in their adoption of technology. So all of my customers are trying to figure out how does AI affect them and what are they going to do? And so we've been working on a strategy, and we actually just launched it a couple weeks ago called Amtech Intelligence, which isn't just AI, but it's how do we bring intelligence to manufacturing using AI, using analytics, a bunch of different tools. And as part of that, we acquired a company called Clerico, which had an AI product for doing costing and quoting. And their product is amazing because I said creating a specification is hard. It might take you hours or even days to produce a quote for somebody if it has a lot of line items. Clerico can do it in minutes. And for our customers, that's fantastic because if you can get the quote out first, you might win just because of that. And so our commitment to providing AI for our customers, we're engaging with customers, we're understanding the use cases that can drive value for them, and then we're working at how do we build those into our products. So we're investing a lot in AI right now. Every single person at Amtech has an MBO this year related to AI.
That's fantastic. What about you? What's your personal AI MBO, Chuck?
So Vista does an AI assessment of all their portfolio companies, and you get a score. And so my personal goal is to get our score to a certain level by the end of this year, which really requires every one of our functions in the company to improve and us to deliver products to our customers. So my MBO is quite tough because it encompasses everything.
Everyone there. It's everyone's AI MBO is your
Exactly.
What do you do to learn AI on your free time? Like Chuck as an individual, how are you absorbing and looking at AI?
So the biggest thing for me, two things. One was we had a presentation at one of the Vista events on just the framework for prompt engineering. And a lot of people use ChatGPT just to ask a question and they get an answer, which is great. But if you engage with something like ChatGPT and you say, okay, here's the role I want you to play, here's the context, here's your task, and interview me and ask me questions. And so I'll have conversations with AI, and when it starts asking you questions, it'll ask you good questions. You're like, well, didn't think of that. And it forces better results. So I've done a lot of that to try to get my prompt engineering better. That's probably the biggest thing. And then also, we use both ChatGPT and Claude, really using Claude to help improve what I do day to day. So I'll have, again, a conversation and it will help me create presentations. It just gets you to an answer much, much faster. Doesn't mean that, I still have to do my job, but it's a great thought partner.
We have Chuck in the loop.
Yes.
So that is there. So I know a little birdie told me that Chuck is fairly competitive.
A little bit.
A little bit. So I'd love to understand, like in your space, what do you think are the things that are truly allowing Amtech to stay ahead of the competition? Or how are you killing the competition, if I have to be nicer?
I think there's a couple things. One, and it's been interesting, a lot of my competition has been bought by private equity the last few years. And I've learned when Vista bought us, all private equities aren't cut from the same cloth. Some people think were bought by private equity, they're going to cut costs, it's going to be terrible for the customers. Vista is very different. Vista acquired us and said, we're going to invest because we think we can help you grow through investment. And so one of the ways we're looking at this is, hey, we're going to do some things for our industry that our competitors aren't doing, and we've got the investment to do it. This year, we'll spend almost 30% of our revenue on R&D. That's not profits, that's revenue. And that is probably double what most companies spend. But there's some things we want to do that we know will provide great value to our customers, and Vista's supporting us in doing that. So that's one piece of it. Second piece I mentioned, we're launching customer success this year. We're doing a lot to really figure out how do we put our arms around our customers and provide excellent support. Because at the end of the day, people don't want to change out their ERP, but they will if they're not getting good support. And I want us to have the best support. And I want our customers to know that if they're with Amtech and they need help, they're going to get help from us.
That is your moat. You will service premium service and technology both. Great. I also want to check with you quickly in terms of what are some of your, the things that kept you awake at night pre-Vista and some of the things that are keeping you awake at night post-Vista investment?
Pre-Vista, so the private equity company that brought me in was a smaller private equity company based in Austin, Texas. They're a great company. They weren't real strong in software. I think we were the first software company that they bought. So a lot of what I had to do was just based on me. I didn't have the deep network like we do with Vista. And I got help from them for sure. But as I looked at Amtech and looked at the potential for Amtech, they would get me to a point, but then I knew that to get where we wanted to be, we needed more help. So what probably kept me up at night was knowing that maybe I was held back on some of the things I wanted to do that Vista has unleashed. So if you look at our vision as a company, is to be the global leader in AI-powered software solutions for the packaging industry. And if you want to be the global leader, you can't just be a North American company. You have to be a global company. And the second piece of that is we're focused on packaging. And Vista is 100% bought into that vision and supporting us on that vision. So post-acquisition with Vista, I mean, everything they told me during the sale process, they weren't selling me on something. They are delivering on it. So I couldn't be happier with who owns us right now.
So is the AI MBO at least keeping you awake at night then, Chuck?
It does. And it does because the one constant at Amtech the last 4 years has been change. We've gone through a lot of transformation, and this AI thing is a new transformation. For a lot of people, it's scary, right? Am I going to keep my job because AI is going to take it away? Or, how is this going to affect me? I'm not the youngest person. You can tell from the color of my hair. It's like, can I learn this new stuff? And so that's the type of stuff that how do I make sure we're enabling the company to leverage all these tools and be successful?
So I think you brought in a very interesting point on change, right? And obviously last year has been a lot of change. You've had a private equity investment, a new partner. You've started a customer service division. You set up your India center. So lots of changes, doing things a lot more global, more playbook driven, AI mandates. So how are you being able to prioritize which change and make sure that the balls that you're juggling don't drop? I know you said you're a circus act on the side, but no.
It's a great question. So what I did at the beginning of this year, I looked at my MBOs and I wrote down the 3 most important things for me to focus on this year. And one of the things I had to, stop doing was maybe being more involved in some of the details. And so I've got a great executive team in place. And I am trusting them to do what they need to do. And I've got my 3 things that are my top 3 priorities. And that's where I'm putting 80% of my focus.
6 new people
We hired, out of my whole management team, 80% are new.
Oh, wow. So a lot of new things.
A lot of new things. And it was because Vista was making an investment. So for example, we had the person that was running our product group also ran our engineering group. And she's fantastic. But she has never really run engineering groups. But with Vista's investment, now we've got a great person running our engineering team that spent his whole career doing that. So we built out a team that has great focus on being really good at what they're doing at Amtech, and we're working really well together. So one of my top 3 things for this year is to make sure my team is executing at an excellent level, that they're working well together, and we're moving the ball forward.
That's fantastic. So collaboration is a very key mandate for you. One thing is, you talked about it, right? People are uncomfortable with change. And change at this velocity, I'm pretty sure, has a bunch of skeletons in its closet. Yeah. So I would love to understand how you're dealing with it, what kind of communication you're doing, and how are you being able to bring that change across all global locations?
So the one thing that I felt as we went through all this change, that if people didn't know what was going on, they'd make up their own version of what was going on, and it might not be what we wanted them to think.
And they're very creative as well.
Exactly. And so we do all hands every 6 weeks, and we're very transparent with what's going on with the company. So I share pretty much everything that I can with everybody in the company. So we record them, we send them out. And so the team here in Bangalore, the team all over the world can have access to that. And I think that level of transparency and the fact that, I think everybody at Amtech knows that if they have a question or concern about something, I'm on Teams, they can Teams me, they can email me, and I'll get back to them on it. It's really important because if you think about packaging, I can hire people that know how to develop software, but that deep understanding of the domain we work in is hard. And I don't want people to ever leave. I want people to love being in Amtech. Our longest employee has been with the company for 43 years.
Oh, wow.
So we've got a lot of long tenured people because we're trying to create a great place for them to work. And so I don't want this change to frustrate someone to the point they think they need to go someplace else.
So what made you decide on India, and what surprised you about India? You cannot say your team. I'm taking that off the table.
So when we started looking at, we want to have a GCC someplace that had access to great talent, especially ERP talent, We're moving into Europe and Asia Pacific over the next few years, so we wanted to have it someplace that could help serve those markets. India was obvious. We got really lucky that the guy from Vista was helping us find a location, suggested Bangalore because there's lots of ERP companies here, and we ended up, hiring our chief human resources officer here because he was from a previous Vista company, and it just worked out really well. We're putting all functions here because I don't view this as, there's the U.S. office and the India office. I view this as we're all one global company. And if we're going to act like that, it's not this office and that office. We're all part of one team. And so we want every function here because ultimately I want to see this office serving the Indian market when we start selling here and serving our customers here and providing, support for our products, great customer service, sales, every part of the company.
Got it. Is it still relatively uncommon for many global companies building team here to have a global chief people officer from here?
So I don't know if a lot of other companies have their CHRO here. I'm very happy we have because Vinod has been great in helping build the team here. And he and I think, see eye to eye on how we want to build culture and what's important around things like career development, pay for performance, those types of things. So I didn't think about it as, I'm having my CHRO in India. It's just like, this guy's great. I want him on my team.
Got it. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. If you come from a very interesting background, and I have to tell the audience because I would be remiss in not saying that. So an interesting part is you've grown up in an island which had 37 people. Yep. Then you have come out to the big bad world of like lots of people. Now you're running a company that probably has significantly many more people than you had on the island and you lived with. What have some of your life lessons been that you learned on the island that you now replicate in your work?
I think one of the biggest ones, so my dad did everything he could to support the family. So he was a commercial fisherman. He had a cement plant where he delivered concrete. He delivered fuel. He did ferry boat captain. And so from a very early age, me and my brothers, we worked to help him. And I think that built a good work ethic. So I'm not afraid to, get my hands dirty. And I don't view my position as, okay, I'm the CEO. I don't do those types of things. I'm happy to go out, meet with customers, do whatever I need to do to help my teams. And the other thing about growing up on the island, I think, was such a small number of people. If you're like, I only want to be friends with people like this, you're not going to be friends because there's not very many people there. So I make friends very easily. And I think that's helped me throughout my career.
So that's fantastic. How do you also translate? Did you have to be like an extrovert, introvert? Is that like a personality shift that you had to go through? Or is it just who you've been and you've been an extrovert just as a function of making friends, like you said?
It's been how I am.
Just how you, there's no evolution that had to take place. One quick thing that I wanted to check with you is how have you taken some of that learning and built it in or baked it into your leadership style?
I think the biggest thing, it's part of my leadership style, and I think it's also transparent within my team because I probably hired people that had the same philosophy as I'm more of a servant leader. So it's not like, hey, you go do this. It's like, how can I help you? And that's how my team engages with the rest of the company. So it's my job to break down barriers, help my team be successful. Because if my whole team's successful and their teams are successful, then I'm successful.
Absolutely. So I heard an interesting thing that in a meeting, you're the last one to speak.
Sometimes it's something that maybe earlier in my career I was less good at, but I spent a lot more time listening. And I think it's important to listen. And I do want to make sure that, I know the buck stops with me, but I want to hear what everybody has to say and consider different options and not just try to enforce my will on things. So I like everybody else to go first. And then
share what you
I'll
sort
share
of consolidate.
either my thoughts on what we just talked about or observations or get to a final decision on things.
Got it. There's a lot of things that you've unlocked as we've spoken today. I usually do a rapid fire round because I think there's a lot about a person that gets sort of replicated in an organization as well. And as the leader of that organization, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of your thumbprints or imprints on that in terms of what Amtech does. So you just said pickleball, yes. But if I had to tell you, you could only pick one sport, golf or pickleball, which would you choose? It's a hard one.
Pickleball.
Oh, really?
That's a really tough one because golf and pickleball are the two things I do. But pickleball, it's something I can do with my wife and friends, and it's fun, and you can do it every day.
So what was your first impression of India?
I'll give you two impressions. One, everybody here has been super friendly and welcoming. The second impression is, thank goodness I don't have to drive here.
Oh, it's a skill. I'm pretty sure you're competitive and you'll be a great driver at it as well.
I lived in London,
okay.
And so I've driven on the other side, the wrong side of the road, as I would say. But the traffic here is
special.
Yes.
Love it. So from what I understand is you're also a foodie. So have you experimented? What's your favorite Indian dish so far?
Masala dosa.
Oh, okay. What is the one mantra or the quote that you live by?
You wouldn't call it a quote. I tell people that I'm the person that likes to get up in the morning and grab his spear and go up the mountain and slay the beast. Mm-hmm. And that beast might be winning a new deal with a customer or solving some problem. So it's, always charge forward and win.
Very nice. If someone had to write a book about you, what would that title of that book be?
An Islander's Journey.
What's something that's made you deeply uncomfortable recently?
As I've talked to other CEOs in the Vista portfolio that have been on this AI journey longer and see some of the things, I'll talk to a CEO. It's like, I wrote a program this weekend using Claude. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So I think that sometimes I'm worried, I can't let myself fall behind. And that's probably the biggest thing.
That's very interesting, right? One leadership habit that you had to consciously unlearn.
It was really I think I mentioned earlier, not getting involved in kind of the day-to-day of my team. So I used to sit in on, all the product team calls, the sales calls, and was involved. And I had to, I would say unlearn, but I had to trust that I've got the right leaders in place, let them go run their businesses. And if they need help, they can come to me.
Amtech 20 years from now, what would your tagline be?
It would probably go from to be the global leader in technology or AI-powered software solutions to the packaging industry as we are the leader.
Okay. Love it. Okay. Chai, filter coffee, or just a good scotch?
I'd go with filter coffee. This is the first time I've had the Indian filter coffee. This stuff's amazing.
Oh, I love it. Okay. You took a good answer, Chuck.
I've got a whole bag of filter coffee to take home with me. So
really? Okay. You really do like filter coffee. That's fantastic to know. If there was a piece of advice you had to give to your next generation of leaders, what would that be?
I think it would be to listen. I think a lot of times we think we know the answer to something and don't listen to the folks that are working for us. And I think it's a skill that a lot of people don't have. And it's something to just take pause and listen.
There's a whole new set of AI native people that you will have in your workforce. And then those that are probably very competent with domain, more technologically savvy than most. But so how are you balancing those multi-generational, thought processes?
I think we're just at the beginning of trying to even understand if it's going to be an issue at all. But I do think pairing people up so that you can have someone who's got a lot of domain experience help mentor somebody who might be newer to the industry, and that person help them understand how we're using the AI technologies is probably something we'll end up doing.
Got it. Thank you again, Chuck. It's been a completely enlightening conversation. Loved having this discussion with you. I think for me, the biggest takeaway was just sort of being able to absorb, to listen. Servant leadership, I know people say it, but from what I've even heard from your team, you live it every day. And I love the fact that you're so open to change, and I can almost see it and hear it in everything you say and do. And I look forward to having many more conversations. It's been an absolute privilege.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for tuning in to Zinnov Podcast. You've been listening to our new series, GCC's Unfiltered. Stay tuned for more such interesting episodes. You can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts from. To know more about Zinnov, Visit our website, www.zinnov.com, or drop us a note at info@zinnov.com.